stakes in the game. The winner between you guys pretty much has the inside track in the Atlantic Division title.
Right. Well, every game is going to be a big game. We've got to take it one game at a time because, we could win this game and, just lose another one or two, and then they could be right back in, or vice versa. So, it'd be good to win the game, but like I said, you got to play every game, and it's a long season.
But with that said, I know you have to look at it that way in the big picture, but this is only two top 25 teams in the ACC. These team winner of this game has won the division the last 3 years. That this game has a little more importance than maybe a Wake Forest game later in the year or something like that.
Well,
history seems to say that it does.
History might say that, but still, like I said, any game could decide the ACC championship. Like last year, we almost gave it up, at when Wake Forest came here. So you can't overlook any games, and every game's a big game.
Do you like being an underdog?
Oh yeah, it's a lot better being an underdog. You don't have as many expectations, I guess you could say. So.
What about playing on the road? Last year you go up your first true road game, you play at Virginia Tech, look great. Rest of the season you go on the road and struggle mightily. What is it? Have you solved whatever it was that ailed you last year in those road games?
Well, I think what it is just we can't get on the emotional highs or lows, and we just got to play our game. It shouldn't matter where we're at. The game is on the field, it's not in the stands. So we just got to play our game.
Why is it so difficult to not say an even keel, not those emotional highs and lows?
Sorry?
Why is it so difficult to avoid those emotional highs and lows?
Well, you go to other stadiums and there's this weekend's going to be a big game, and there's going to be a night game. There's going to be a lot of crowd noise, and you can't help but kind of get pumped up for that. And also at home with the crowd noise, they're cheering for you, so you get pumped up, and you just gotta stay kind of level-headed. You can't get too emotionally excited or too down.
Is that hard to do during the day? Because when you're with your classmates, they're like, "This is the greatest game of the year," and then you're with your coaches, and they're like, "This is just another game."
It's not too bad. Like you said, the classmates and everybody gets really excited about it, but you just gotta stay focused. It's just you gotta take it one game at a time, and you can't get too excited early in the week because by the end of the week you'll just be drained. So.
Now that you've probably had a couple of days to look at Forest State a little more, what do you see with their interior?
They've got a great defensive line. They got a great defense. They're all really fast. They work off their blocks well, and they just get to the ball. So we're just going to have our work cut out for us.
Who are some of those guys on the interior that are really stand out to you?
All of them, 92, 93, 8, all those guys. They got the defensive end, 95. He's really quick. So, and they all get to the ball really well and shed blocks. So, like I said, we're going to have a big game ahead of us.
How's your ankle feeling right now?
It's feeling good. I've been doing some rehab, and I was able to run yesterday, and I'm going to practice today. So, hopefully it'll be 100% by Saturday.
So you think you'll be full go today and tomorrow, Thursday?
Yes, sir.
Fine.
Statistically speaking, Florida State's at the top of all the charts. But how much of that is who they've played, and how much of that is how good that defense is?
Well, they're at the top of the charts for a reason. They got a great defense and a great offense, and like I said, they get to the ball well, and they just play the game really well. And so I think they've earned their spot.
What do you think will be the toughest challenge for you guys as a group, dealing with that crowd noise and trying to get plays off and just being in that whole hostile environment?
I think just staying focused. We played in the Georgia Dome, and it was loud in there, and it could be louder at Florida State, but we just got to stay focused, and like I said earlier, don't get too emotionally involved in the highs and the lows, and just stay level-headed and just focus on our job.
What is their defensive line do, especially the guys inside that you'll be matched up against?
They do a little bit of movements and stuff, but mostly they're just coming off at you and just working to the ball. Like I said, they're fast, so they don't have to do a whole lot of blitzing and stunting to get to the ball because they all get to the ball really well and they're fast. So.
Is it a concern for you guys, given the injuries you've had and the lack of playing time for the starting five, is that a concern for you going into this in terms of continuity chemistry?
Well, right, there's always a concern when you got injuries, but like I said, like I talked about earlier, like we've all played so much like during camp stuff together that it shouldn't be a problem if we have a second string guy needs to step up to a first starting position. So I think we'll be all right.
Do you think it will be a challenge? I know you guys have played in big games before, but sort of stay patient if things don't come right away, especially against a Florida State team. Great defense and your offense, just as explosive as you guys can be.
Right. I mean, it'll be difficult to stay patient because you want to get out there and score, and sometimes if you happen to get behind the 8 ball, you feel pressed to make plays that aren't there. But that's going to be the big point of the game is just us staying level-headed and trying to focus on our job.
How much pressure are you putting on yourself, or maybe onus to make sure Boyd stays upright and protected, considering the guys that come sending at you?
Right. Well, it's a lot of pressure, because these guys are great pass rushers, but it's the same every week. You don't want to get Taj hit by anybody, whether it be Florida State or Furman. We got to protect him every week. So.
Clemson's never beaten a top 5 team on the road. Does it matter that you could be the first team to accomplish yet another thing that hasn't been done? Does that matter to you? Something that people can talk about years to come?
It doesn't really matter. It's just every week it's another faceless, nameless opponent, and we're just trying to do our best.
You mentioned that faceless nameless. We've heard that so many times. Clearly in practice this week, is it a little different? Because you're not preparing for Furman or Ball State. Is it the stakes are certainly higher with this game? Is there some feeling that's different?
Kind of in the back of your mind, it's different, but like I said earlier, you got to keep a level head. You got to look at every game as the biggest game of the year. You can't look forward to, or be like, oh, this week I got to prepare more, or this week I got to prepare less. Like, you got to do the same thing every week.
Coach Sweeney said that people on the outside looking in, E2 would pick you as an underdog. There may be only a couple teams that would be going there as a favorite. Do you guys relish that role?
We don't, I would rather be an underdog, and I think the whole team accepts that as just as a challenge. It's nice to go in there and nobody's expecting us to win. So if we play a great game and happen to win, then it'd be great. But if we don't, then if we're going in there with nothing to lose.
Communication in there, how big a challenge will that be? Just communicate along the line of that environment.
It'll be tough. It's going to be loud, but we had a little, practice at that in the Georgia Dome, and during practice too, they play some crowd noise over the speakers, so that way we have to work on communicating and getting our different signals and stuff.
Is this a top 10 team yet? Even though you're ranked in the top 10, is this yet a top 10 team?
I think we've got the ability to be. I'm not sure if we've played top 10 football yet. We've got a lot left that we need to get fixed and stuff. So I think we have the capabilities, but we haven't played our best game yet. So we've got a lot left.
Tyler?